How's everybody doing?
All
right. All right.
How would you assess the way Carson played on Sunday?
I would say that, generally as a whole on offense, we didn't play the way that we believe that we're capable of playing. And we know that we got to do a lot better than that. Our defense, got to give them a lot of credit. They played an outstanding game and gave us every opportunity to win, and we got to take advantage of those opportunities.
Mike, you've been a wide receivers coach. What's the hardest thing to teach to NFL wide receivers?
That's a pretty broad question. It depends a little bit on the individual. So I don't know that there's any one formula that would answer that question for you. But it kind of goes in stages a little bit, and teaching them what to do, how to do it, and then why we're asking them to do it a certain way. And once they kind of know those three things, then they can really play freely and let their ability take over. As much as the why, and I've used an analogy in the past, is really knowing the words to the song. You hear a song that you like, but you don't necessarily know all the words. So you had the beat down or the hook or whatever, but you got to be fully immersed and not just what to do, but how to do it, and why you're doing it that way. And then you got to have a plan, each and every down, because it's changing. The landscape in front of you is changing. It's a different coverage. It's a different guy in front of you, and so to take all of that into account.
Like at this stage of the season, it seems like there's still some times where your receivers and the quarterback maybe not on the same page. How do you get that corrected at this point?
Well, I think we need more time together. There's been some moving parts there, so hopefully we're trending towards getting guys healthier and guys that have been in the huddle and on the field together more often.
What can you do with Carson and ball security? The fumbles obviously been an issue for him.
I think we just got to keep two hands on the ball in the pocket when start to feel pressure. Obviously, he's really good in escaping, but being able to keep two hands on the ball, protect it against your chest, lock it up until you do, break out and the clear, get out of the pocket.
One of those moving parts that you talked about is Jordan Matthews. He was waived yesterday. Was only here for 2 weeks, but how do things change with your personnel now with the receiver?
Yeah, well, first of all, I appreciate Jordan's contribution the last 2 weeks and everything that he invested in our team as a true pro. Enjoy being around him, really enjoy coaching him. So I want to wish him well. What was the second part of your question?
How do things change for you guys now with more personnel out?
Yeah, it'll just, hopefully we get a couple of these guys back healthy. I think it's looking at this point, it's looking positive. We'll know more once we get out there. But
Mike, how do you think Greg Ward did? Obviously, being elevated from the practice squad, got a decent amount of traffic. How did you? Yeah,
I thought Greg did a really nice job. Had a lot of confidence going into the game that he played the way that he did, and I'm really happy for him, proud of him. He's put a lot into this in terms of his development and transitioning from playing quarterback in college to NFL wide receiver. So I think he got off to a very positive start.
Did he? How do you kind of account for how many routes can he run? Is he doing one thing well that kept working? How does a guy who's been on the practice squad that long come in and be that productive, relatively speaking?
I'm not sure I understand exactly, but Greg knows our offense. So, because he's been here a long time, and he's been in a ton of meetings. He's had the opportunity to practice in our system for a long time. So, from that standpoint, there's a lot of trust with him. We've seen him run a ton of routes. I think know his body language really well. So, in terms of being able to be the question was be on the same page. Well, he's been around, and so we've seen that, and he knows exactly where he's supposed to be, when he's supposed to be there, and he knows the words to the song. So there's a lot of confidence in his ability to do that. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, no. I mean, if he did this in his debut, why couldn't he have done this a week before? And what kind of led?
Well, I can't speculate on that, but I can just say that he did take advantage of his opportunity. Did a heck of a job, and I think everybody in the locker room and certainly the coaching staff has confidence in him moving forward.
Why is JJ having trouble running routes?
What routes are you speaking of?
Well, there are a couple of former players who pointed out on social media that there were key plays that he didn't run good routes.
JJ's a young player, and I kind of just referenced it a little bit with Greg and the fact that he's had the luxury of being around here for a number of years and heard exactly the way the plays are installed many times, and knows exactly how he wants to run the route and how we expect the route to look. So he did a really nice job with that, and I think that if you look at the offense as a whole or receivers as a whole, there's things that we can correct on a lot of plays. It's certainly not just one guy, but that's part of the fundamental discipline and the details that we got to improve on to get where we want to go.
Given the video that he was referencing that showed the wide receiver issues.
I don't know that video, but
it was going on.
I watched the game a bunch of times, though. Yeah.
Probably saw it. Some of the plays.
Yeah.
Do you think that based on the wide receiver play and lack of execution, that Carson's taking too much of the blame for what happened in this game? Or
Well, I'll say this: we're in this together. It's not anybody's fault, not one individual's fault. It's all of us. I'm accountable for it all, and so we all got to do better. And we're going to go back out there today, and we're going to roll our sleeves up and get to work. We're certainly not happy with the results that we've gotten. We've put a lot of work into achieving and playing at a higher standard than that, and we got to take care of the ball. We can't turn the ball over to a really good football team 5 times, give them those opportunities. So.
There's a criticism of the offense right now that even with the injuries at wide receiver, you're not throwing deep enough. Even if it is unlikely to be completed, is there an upside to just throwing the ball deep to maybe change the spacing of the defense?
Like a long foul ball or something?
Something like that.
I don't know if there is. It's certainly, you still have a chance to complete it. I wouldn't throw it down there thinking that we weren't going to complete it. So, yeah, we need to take some shots down there and give guys opportunities to make plays down the field and shorten some drives.
Mike, we haven't seen
Fair.
We haven't seen a lot of design rollouts for Wentz. What's the reasoning behind it?
Well, we had a menu of those type of plays on the game plan every week, and it's really about the same amount of plays each and every week. They're all slotted, and so that's a big part of what we want to do, and we know that Carson's really good outside the pocket.
How come he's not getting moved out there then?
I think we called 3 of them the other day, something like that. So they're being called. I don't know if we're getting the production out of them that we'd like, which is the case in a lot of areas right now. So we got to get that cleaned up.
It just seems like on Sunday you had a lot of moving parts on the offensive line, and maybe that would have been a way to get through some of the problems you had there.
Yeah, it might have been. Like I said, we did call some, but every play can't be a rollout either. So.
Hey, Mike, when you talk about young players at any position, Jim called it startup costs, the time you expect a certain amount of mistakes.
I like that phrase. It's good. Jim's a smart guy.
Put that in your arsenal.
What?
You can put that in your arsenal.
Yeah. How do you kind of weigh that and say, obviously Andre got taken out at halftime, but how do you weigh that with a young player, expecting a certain amount of mistakes but fighting your way through it?
How do you weigh what? Whether to play him or not?
Yeah.
Well, obviously you put everybody out on the field that you have a lot of confidence in, and we got a lot of confidence in Andre, and I think it was discussed prior to the game that that's not an easy transition to make, and so we had high hopes that he'd go out there and perform, and it wasn't going as well as we'd have liked it to go, so we had to make a decision there at halftime, and I think B and Matt Pryor did an excellent job there on the right side and kind of settled back into the game a little bit.
Through 11 games this season, in what ways have you seen Carson improve since 2017 when he was playing at a very high level?
Yeah, I understand the question, but I'm in the moment right now. We're trying to get ready for Miami and think about what we need to do to game plan for Miami based on who we have on our team. So I don't have the wide vision on everything that's gone on and transpired this season in relation to last season. I hope you can understand that.
If I could follow up on that, though, I'm just looking at Sunday's game, other than the turnovers, obviously, what could have Carson done better in that game?
Well, you mentioned taking care of the ball, which we got to. That's first and foremost, I think. And if we can do that, I thought we had a lot of positive plays in there. We missed some plays. I'm not going to go over all those. You guys saw them, so I think you kind of have an idea of what those plays are. So we got to make sure that we don't leave those plays out on the field that we think that we should be able to make, regardless of who's in the game. And I said it last week. We got a high standard for how we expect to play. I know that everybody does, and right now we're not meeting that. So we got to roll our sleeves and we got to get to work, and we're going to get it done. And we got a good team that we're getting ready for this week in Miami, and another challenging scheme that we're preparing for, and we're excited for the challenge.
Have you guys identified anything wrong with Carson's throwing mechanics?
No, I wouldn't say that there's anything in particular wrong with him. I think the other day, he was there's a lot of push in his face, and it's not like you're able to throw off a pitcher's mound every time the other day. But, when he's got room to complete a throwing motion, he's still Carson Wentz.
Doug mentioned his footwork yesterday. Doug mentioned Carson's footwork a couple times. Is that something you guys have focused on maybe this week?
Well, we haven't been out there yet this week, but I think for any position, not just quarterbacks. Obviously, it's vitally important to quarterbacks and playing with a good base and all that. But every position. You talk about receivers and getting releases at the line of scrimmage, or being able to get separation at the top, or you talk about offensive line and the sets that they take, and being in balance. So having that balance for a quarterback is important, just as it is with any position. And if you're off balance or out of rhythm, then you have to adjust arm angles and that kind of thing. So you got to take a bunch of things into account there. All right. Yep.